The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 2024 spring edition of The Local Show. I'm your host, Tom Soccocio Jr., along with my friend and co-host, Steve Roberts. The Local Show features conversations about local businesses. We talk to the business owners, the CEOs and CFOs, entrepreneurs, nonprofits, business advocates, and other business-friendly organizations. We learn how they got into business and why they do business right here in Syracuse, New York, and where their businesses might be going in the future. You're going to hear all about their successes, their challenges, opportunities, marketing, and advertising. We're broadcasting from the Zoey Advertising Studios, sponsored by Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts. You can see us on YouTube, so if you feel like swinging on over to YouTube, just look up Zoey Advertising. You'll see lots of fun stuff there. How you doing there, Steve?
I'm doing all right, Tom. I have a question.
Oh, boy. I don't know if I can handle a question right off the bat.
Because you look a couple days over 60.
Yeah, yes.
So was it exciting as you thought it would be?
It was everything I thought it would be. Depressing, horrible.
Good.
And, yeah.
So it was like Kamala Harris, the passage of time is the passage of time when you have to pass time passages.
The way I kept myself above water was to just look at older people. If you want to feel young, hang around old people.
I know, that's an idea.
It's a theory that I have.
So look at older people that are suffering.
Yes.
And you'll feel better about yourself.
Well, when I was at the gym, I noticed...
It's not in the Bible time.
No, it's not a biblical principle. But over at the gym, I noticed a lot of people who were a lot older. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, they're doing it and I'm doing it. So, I'm sure it'll be fine. And then one of our guests last week thought I was in my early 40s. So I thought, well, that's good too.
That
made me feel good.
That was the guest from the Seeing Eye Association, Tom.
Yes, exactly.
That was guided blind dogs. Not blind dog wouldn't guide really well, would it? So
goodness. It said, hey, it's a state of mind, I guess.
Well, here's what I know. In the last 6 months, you've taken your health captive. You've lost a lot of weight. You're doing a bunch of stuff.
Well, yeah, I feel like I'm back in the old days, because I was a gym rat, and once you're in that mindset, and you're always in it's easy to get back in. I feel bad for people who've never been in the gym, and then the doctor says, "Hey, look, you got to get some physical activity," because it's all foreign to them.
Stop looking at me.
Yes, Chris and I were talking about you coming in over at the gym. We'd like to have you come in.
I was looking at old photos of you.
Yeah.
Really
where did you see him from?
But we were going through the archives.
Oh, yeah. That was considerably heavier, yeah.
Correct. And I look at Tom, and we've got some Zoey promos and things that we've been working on. I saw some pictures. Look at Tommy boy. So I know you don't.
And I would say that to anybody. You really want to make a difference. Aside from getting right with the Lord, get right in the gym, and you'll feel a lot better.
Maybe.
Lot better.
Is that for everybody?
Yeah, it is. It really is for everybody. Well, we're meant to be that way as humans. We're meant to be that way as an animal to build muscle and everything.
Okay.
So there you go.
All right. Go ahead, animal.
And folks, don't take anything I say as literal, because I'm not a doctor. Or
the views expressed by the hosts are not those of iHeartRadio.
I can barely handle myself, so don't. Anyway, look it all up. Joe Silvani stops by. He's the COO and of missionary for Coram Dea. Okay, so Coram Dea Ministry is his ministry. We'll talk with him first, and then Alex Pizarnik is the director of operations at Syracuse Community Health. She'll stop by for a conversation. Vinny Pioni is coming by again. He's the digital content manager over there at Eastern Security. John DeRedita is the director of events and marketing at the Home Builders and Remodelers Association of CNY. The big home show is just around the corner. Sarah Gaffney will come by and talk to us. She's the vice president of enrollment management at Onondaga Community College. Christina Farrar is the mobile Maple experience coordinator for New York State Maple. And then Fred Sears is the board of directors first VP at Moyers Corners Fire Department, and we'll have a good conversation with him as well. All on the local show today. Right now we say hello to Joe Silvani. How are you, Joe?
Good morning. How are you?
Very good, sir. We've had you in a couple of times for for different reasons. Why don't you give people your background and how you got into Coram Dea Ministry?
Yes, sir. So I'm a retired police officer, but it kind of came at a forced situation. I got injured on the job, and a medical retirement was kind of presented to me, not necessarily asked, but presented. And I was just going through some life changes, and honestly was going through an identity crisis. And during that, I had a dear friend, Roger Burdick from Drivers Village, had invited me on a short-term mission trip back in 2011. And I went, and it changed my life. Literally a week in the Dominican Republic, it literally changed the trajectory of what life looked like for me. It was incredible. It was incredible. Wow. So.
Did you get a good tan while you were over in the Dominican Republic?
There's always beautiful sun over there, yes.
That's what I've heard. I've had some people vacation over there. So then you come back and you got involved with what?
So we've created our own ministry called Coram Dea Ministry. And basically we're seeking out anybody who has needs, orphan children, widows, the homeless, those that can't figure out where their next meal is going to come. And typically we find that in a third world country. Yeah. So we created Coram Dea Ministry, which is Latin for before the face of God. Okay. So we just desire to bring those people that are in great need some hope, whether it's a physical help, but it's always attached to a spiritual help, so to speak, and in Jesus. So, So we've been doing that since 2011, and it's been an incredible journey.
So what does that look like? So poor people need food and shelter and those things. So how does it exercise itself? What happens?
So I'll give you an example. The first time that I was in the Dominican Republic, we were working on putting a roof on a multi-purpose building for a orphanage. They're going to use that to teach the kids, do some crafts, and basically this building was going to pour into the kids, allow the kids to do a bunch of different things. So all week, it was about 100 degrees. The organization that we traveled through would provide us with an igloo cooler in these like Capri Sun-like bags of purified water. What I didn't know while I was in the Dominican is that 100% of the water that comes out of the tap is polluted, and you should not drink it. It's dangerous.
I could have told you that.
Cholera, just waterborne diseases. All
that's
that.
Terrible. Yeah.
So as we're working and putting this roof on the building, our team is reaching into this igloo cooler, ripping off the little, the corner of the baggie, and we're drinking and hydrating in 100 degrees on the roof. So we finished the project. It's Thursday. All week, all these onlookers from a distance are looking at all these Americans coming in and pouring into their village. We've had, young kids just standing on the fence line watching us pound the nails and all that good stuff. At the end, Mr. Burdick had kind of just said, listen, okay, we're going to clean up the area. And he said, Joe, I want you to take care of the water cooler, put that in the van, and the rest of the tools. Well, I went over to the cooler. They had put a bag of ice over that each time that we had gone out. All the water bags were gone. We had drank all those, and the melted ice was at the bottom, about 2 or 3 inches of water. And I knew I had to carry that quite a bit, a distance. So I lifted the lid and I went to dump it out. And these 3 young Dominican boys, 6, 8, and 10 years old, in an all-out sprint came over to me, slammed that top down and yelling at me in Spanish. Wow. After interpretation, the interpreter said, Joe, these 3 young boys have not had clean, drinkable water in their entire life. Oh, wow. And they said, if you'll just hold that water, let them run home, go get a couple of jugs and come back, they would be extremely grateful. Wow. They ran a mile home, a mile back. In the heat. Poured that water in their jugs. They wrapped their little arms around me and said, thank you so much. And it was there that my life was like, oh, my goodness. Wow. Yeah. My dad was on that trip. He was a 30-year veteran with the Onondaga County Water Authority, so he did everything with water. On our plane ride home, he looked at me and goes, Joe, I know what that looked I know that look. What are we about to do? And I said, Dad, I need your help. We got to be able to purify water. Oh my goodness. And that's how this ministry started. Mm-hmm. Purifying water in villages that had zero access.
I thought the ice got you. I thought you were going to say that the ice contaminated what you were touching because the water's so bad.
Yeah, no,
in South America and all these places.
Understood, yeah.
So do you look for funds to do that? How can the listeners help you?
We do. It's all fund driven. So right now we're going to host a gala that will raise some funds. It's April 27th. It's at the New York State Fair at Daniela's Seafood. The tickets are online at coramdeoministries.com. And by supporting that, by buying a ticket and coming, you'll be able to support this ministry.
Nice. So, do you do anything stateside as well?
We do. So actually, locally, I have a couple of people that will know of a need. Just recently, the other day, one of our friends, a lady had a fire. They called me. We're pouring into her life right now.
Good.
So
Good
yes.
job.
So coramministries.com.
Coram Dea Ministries.
coramdeoministries.com. They can find information.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you, Joe. You have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Alex Pizarnik is coming up next. She's the Director of Operations at Syracuse Community Health. Stick around for that conversation on The Local Show on 570 WSYR.
The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
We're back again, and we're glad to have you along for this ride over this weekend as we enjoy pre-spring. Maybe you want to take a bike ride, whether it's raining or not. You should.
You don't ride a bike.
No, I do.
You go to a gym, you sit on a thing. You're not that guy that's 110% muscle mass that goes zooming by and sees a hill as a challenge, and that's not you.
I get my steps in too. I have to get steps in plus the gym.
Who's counting?
Yes, I am. I got the watch. Yeah, the super gizmo tells me how much health I have for the day.
How many steps do you think I do in a day, Tom?
Yeah, I don't know.
15?
You could probably do 10,000 just walking in circles like you do. So,
well, I have a stand-up. I don't sit. I don't know if that counts as steps.
Well, no, because you're not moving.
Yeah, I did move. I was walking the dogs last weekend, and I kind of enjoyed it. I hate to say that.
Yeah.
But I got past this is annoying.
Yes, you have to get past that point. There is a point where when you start walking, right, you go, oh, geez, I really don't have time for this, and I don't want to. But then you get past that point, and then it's nice.
So I recorded the dog walking, but then I hear,
yeah.
And it wasn't the dog, it was me.
It was you, yes.
And that wasn't good.
Well, anyway, we've got a new guest to the show. Alex Pizarnik is Alex is the Director of Operations at Syracuse Community Health, a place that we're very familiar with. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you, Tom?
Very good. I'm going to ask you about your background first. Are you from Central New York area?
I am from the Central New York area.
Yeah, where'd you grow up?
I was born and raised in Syracuse, New York. We moved to Ohio for about 9 years of my childhood. Came back to Oneida for a little while. I've been in the Utica area, but I've been working in Syracuse for the last 12 years.
And how long at Syracuse Community Health?
I've been at Syracuse Community Health for 2 years now.
Okay. And when you came back from the Midwest, did you miss Syracuse and kept going? I didn't know.
No, not at all. I was actually very excited to return to Syracuse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very welcoming to return home. I bought a house here at 26, and
Nice.
It's very welcoming to kind of give back to my community and be present in it.
Did you? Whoa, what was that, Steve?
I don't know, but that was.
I think Steve's a volunteer fireman now.
A little radio interference.
So, what did you do professionally? First, let's start with your education. What did you go to college for?
So, I went to college at MVCC. I started out as a photography major.
Oh, okay.
I had the original dreams of an art student, so I really honed my skills in those first 1.5 years, and I realized a lot of your income kind of goes back into the craft.
Yeah.
And that it's something that you can always return to or expand on. But I really found interest in psychology. So I started as a psychology and human services major for my associate's degree at MVCC College in Utica. And then I expanded to Cortland, New York.
Right, sure.
And continued psychology and human services for a dual bachelor's.
Good.
After that point, I really wanted to get into the services, so I worked at Liberty Resources at Oneida. I've been there for the last 15 years as a hotline operator for domestic violence and sexual assault. And we expanded into Planned Parenthood, where I worked in Utica for a little while, and then found myself in Syracuse at Huntington Family Centers as a CAP youth educator. So those services expand to sexual health with middle school and high school students.
You explain what CAP is?
Yeah, so CAP is Comprehensive Adolescent Pregnancy Prevention. It's an evidence-based program run through Cornell University that specializes in HIV knowledge and sexual health prevention. So it's really expansive to all different inclusions and diversities when it comes to how we hold our relationships, and really looks at how we can protect ourselves with conversation. So if we can't have a conversation about how we ride a bike or how we walk our dogs, how can we have a conversation about our relationships?
So how did you get recruited by Syracuse Community Health?
I got recruited by Syracuse Community Health because it's really homegrown. Dr. Reed, Kim Pazarzik, Jessica Yoxel, and a variety of the staff have come from Oneida Hospital and from other locales. And even now, there's individuals that work in our schools with the Syracuse City School District that have worked in Syracuse Community Hospital. We do outreach pretty frequently with our Jazz in the Cities throughout the summers. I think it's the first Thursday
We've
of
been
every
to them.
month.
They're fun.
Oh, they're so fun. And it features a lot of local talent. So that really kind of got the ball rolling. I've already been very present in Central New York, so I think that presence caught the attention of Dr. Reed, who is our interim acting CEO and president. And we have built together the agency.
Can I ask you a trick question?
Please, feel.
For folks that don't know, what is Syracuse Community Health?
Sure. So Syracuse Community Health is a holistic health program. It delivers white glove service. We have podiatry, internal medicine, family medicine, pediatrics, eye care, dental. We have walk-in counseling, comprehensive addiction prevention services, as well as walk-in dental, which is one of those few instances in Central New York.
That's a big deal. If you have dental pain,
Oh, yeah.
who wants to wait? You can't.
You can't. And it's something that takes all of the focus.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most challenging things that we were faced coming out of the pandemic is a lot of services were expanding appointment times to 18 months, 20 months, see you next year.
Oh, my goodness.
And we really try and bring people in from all positions. So no matter your insurance level, we're not going to turn you away. We have a sliding fee scale. We really want to encourage people on checking in with their bodies and checking in with each other, because it's a community effort. So we all know somebody that suffers from headaches. We all know ourselves as we're trying to get through our day. And it's important that we establish care with a primary care physician or with somebody that can tap into that in a professional way. I think we spend a lot of time taking care of each other, but it's hard to tap into ourselves and make those appointments.
Yeah. So new facilities. Tell me about those.
New facilities. We used to be at 819 South Salina Street. We're still there for our CAPS program, the addiction and counseling services, as well as at our walk-in care. But now we are located at 930 South Salina Street, which is a beautiful, large white building right after the Martin Luther King Bridge. And those services are now our home, where our internal medicine, family medicine, pediatrics, podiatry, eye care, dental, our billing services and our laboratory are all stationed there. So it's a beautiful, large building with an atrium.
It's a beautiful, large building.
Yeah.
So folks are on, is that Salina, South Salina?
South Salina.
Go under the bridge, the railroad bridge, and sits right there, and it's stunning.
And it's centralized to so many other resources. So you pass the library, you pass the post office, you're on your way to your other routines. Might as well stop in and make yourself or your family an appointment.
Is that facility mostly for people that live nearby?
It's for anybody. So we do focus a lot of our services in Syracuse, New York, but we have gone as far as DeWitt, Liverpool, Mattydale. We've had a couple people from Tully and Fulton. We're not going to turn anyone away if they're seeking those services. So it's we're a private nonprofit. We're funded through Medicaid, so we have a large panel of Medicaid patients, but there's a wide diversity of people we serve. We also specialize in global health, so our Next Americans, our English as Next speakers, are very frequent, present with our services. We work with Catholic Charities very frequently to help extend those first-time services to new-coming persons.
Do you have to have insurance to participate?
So if you don't have insurance, we have accessibility to Fidelis, United Healthcare, Excelis. We're always encouraging people to get insured, but if you don't have insurance, we're not going to turn you away.
Right.
We do a sliding fee scale based on income, where you could pay as low as $10, $20, or $25, $50, based on where you're kind of at. But we really want to encourage the need of getting those services. So a lot of times we're not taking co-pays at the front. But we'll get you connected with our billing team, or we'll get you connected with a resource, so that way you can not feel that brunt of what the medical cost really is.
I was in the breast care center up there.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's our shining jewel. The mammography center is really incredible. We're bringing a spa-like quality to getting mammograms and trying to encourage positive breast health for all persons identified as women. So that way, and men, because it's really important for y'all to get breast exams as well. And that way we can lower the risks of advanced stages of breast cancer and increase early prevention and early treatment.
Real quick, you're hiring. Who are you hiring?
We are. So we have medical assistants, front desk staff. We're really interested in additional security personnel because we have multiple locations. We're at the East Syracuse, East Fayette. We're at West Oswego Street. We're at 930 South Salina and 819 South Salina Street. We have school-based health professionals that we frequently look for, as well as dentists, dental hygienists. We have plenty of programs. We're looking in 2025 of starting a residency program. So we would be looking for 4 potential individuals to start with their education so that way we can train the next crew of doctors. So we have a lot going on. We're expanding dental to the east.
Okay. Are the jobs available and people can find more information at SyracuseCommunityHealth.org?
They can.
Is
So underneath
there?
the job opportunities tab, it'll bring you to our people admin page. You can also find us on Indeed.com pretty frequently.
Nice.
So usually if you type Syracuse Community Health job opportunities into whatever search engine, if you're not able to find our website, there's lots of opportunities. Yeah.
Well, you represent the organization very well, Alex, and thank you for being here today, okay?
Thanks, Tom.
All
Thanks,
right.
Steve.
Coming up next, we're going to talk with Vinny Pioni. He's the digital content manager at Eastern Security. Stick around for that conversation. Coming up next on The Local Show.
The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
All right, you found the place to be on the weekend. I bet you didn't know that, but I'm here to tell you that this is the place to be. All the cool kids hang out here.
Tom.
Including Steve.
Tom. People come here when they got nothing better to do. Come on, who are we kidding?
And wash dishes on a Saturday and Sunday.
There's folks washing their truck right now.
That's nice.
There's other people that are...
Can you imagine that, somebody washing their vehicle and having us blasting in the background?
Yeah, a little bit.
Like we're like Casey Kasem.
Yeah. Somewhere there's, someone was taken hostage and they're making people listen. Like, show us your diamonds or we're going to make you listen to this.
Right. That might be more appropriate. Yes. So as far as Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts, did they just have another workshop?
They did one up in Watertown.
Okay.
And I was up there this last week.
Yeah.
And John changed some of the format of it a little bit. And he was good before.
Yes.
He got better in communicating. And what he said at the beginning, and I loved what he said, you're not going to learn everything. You're not going to know everything. But here are the 2 things I'd like to see you do. Decide if I know what I'm talking about. We're going to teach some things. And then decide if I'm the guy that you can trust with your things.
Right.
And I thought that was fair because that's all he does, what he knows. But not everybody's for everybody. And a lot of folks made an appointment to move forward and sort things out. So there's no workshop here right now, but they don't need one because you can call Safe Harbor at 370-9977. Write that down, 370-9977, or go to their website, safeharborwillsandtrusts.com, and just ask questions. And you can get answers and start the process of protecting your home and life savings.
Excellent. Well, we have a returning guest today, Steve, and it's always amazes me when somebody returns because I think, wow, they must, really be desperate for something to do. Vinny Pioni is the digital content manager at Eastern Securities, Eastern Security, and you can see them online. Is it easternsecurity.net? You got a .net instead of a .com? Okay.
Exactly.
Just to confuse people?
Yeah. easternsecurity.net. Vinny, how are you, buddy?
Oh, I'm good. How are you guys doing today?
Very good, thank you. Vinny's got a real active LinkedIn page, too.
He does.
With Eastern
He does
Security.
a good job. The stuff you post doesn't suck.
Right.
Because some people are like us on Facebook, and then you go there and they're like, what is there to like? So what goes through your mind as you're creating and posting stuff? Because there's cool stuff.
You know what? People always tell me I think in movie scenes and TV show quotes and references.
Very
So
nice.
I'll be watching something and just think about like, oh man, that's a perfect reference to a camera or a lock that we install.
Right.
So I'm just constantly thinking of different things to post.
Well, it's good. So Tom, when I was 11,
Yes.
I went trick-or-treating, and I actually wore what Vinny's wearing, an Eastern, so I had the hat. I went as a security guy, the vest, the orange road cone colored shirt. I dressed as you.
They almost didn't let me in today. They didn't recognize me without the beard, so I think it threw a lot of people off. But
were you bearded before?
I was, yeah. Yep.
I don't think I hardly looked at you, but I hardly look at Steve either. So.
But you Italians, he could have a beard tomorrow.
I know.
I will.
But I'm one of those rare guys. Now, here I am, 60 years old. I still have trouble growing facial hair.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Well, that could be due to my high estrogen count.
Yes, it is.
And waning testosterone.
It is true. And the Hallmark Channel proves it with your favorite station.
Oh, goodness. Anyway, before I break out my white Zinfandel and start drinking wine as well, Vinny, what brought you to Eastern Security and what makes them special?
So I've always been interested in security in general. My father was a police officer growing up, so protecting life and property is just something that I was, born to be interested in.
Yeah.
And right out of college, I was actually working as a personal trainer for a little bit, and I did a little bit of soul searching, and I found a company locally called Rapid Response Monitoring, and I got to see the alarm monitoring side of this industry, which I didn't even know existed before. And then over the years, I gradually started to work more and more with tools, and I a little bit of sales and marketing background, and Eastern Security was the perfect fit because they were hiring technicians, and it's a rapidly growing company, so I soon moved into my current role as a digital content manager.
Right. Now, where would you rank Eastern Security in the security world? Because there's, different ones, and of course we have the one that I talked about before where, you can order the stuff online and then try and install it yourself.
And video watchers would have seen him roll his eyes when you did that, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I would rank us number one, and obviously I have to. I'm the digital content manager. But one of the biggest issues in our industry right now is false alarms. And for any alarm company to frankly exist long term, they have to have an effective way to combat false alarms. And you see, I'm sure you guys saw in Pittsburgh last week, they announced that they're not going to be dispatching police officers between the hours of 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. unless it's an in-progress emergency. Alarm system calls in Pittsburgh, might possibly have a lower dispatch rate.
So I call 911 at 3:30 in the morning. They don't dispatch anybody?
Well, if somebody would have to be breaking in. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So one of the big things, we do, obviously, every time we install a system, it's rigorously tested almost to an annoying amount. Even if we're pre-wiring a house a year before anyone's lived there, we're doing, integrity tests on the actual door and window contacts. Mm-hmm. And then when the people move in, we put the full system in, everything's retested again, too. So we test everything to ensure that the false alarm rates are as low as possible. And to the point of, we actually had someone referred to us from the Onondaga County Sheriff's Department for being the lowest false alarm rate in the county.
Oh, very nice.
So commercial or residential?
Both.
Okay, so why should someone get a residential system through a professional company as opposed to the Gizzywig online?
That's the thing. When you have it sent to you in a box, it comes with bare bones instructions.
Yeah,
you call in for support. You got someone reading from a script. Sure. It's not the same as having someone with 40 years of experience installing it for you, testing it for you, and then also having the best monitoring technology in the industry backing it up, as opposed to ringing to someone's house. You got someone, your alarm goes off and you're talking to someone who's sitting on their couch with kids in the background. Ours are all going to a UL listed central station.
So
that's
Tom,
very good.
Years ago, Mom had an alarm at the house, and it went off. So the phone rings, and I was there, and they're like, okay, what's the security word? And I went with the old security word. Well, that's not it. Well, I try to go, well, do what you got to do. That's not it. Well, I talked to relations. Well, somebody told me I should change the word every once in a while. Well, tell your children.
Yeah, right.
Right, because it wasted somebody's time. And they had a process, which I guess they did. It was Spectrum Time Warner, which doesn't even do that anymore, right? Right? So you step into that space and that's your world.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So are there statistics, Vinny, I'm curious, as to, more security? If you have a security company, is it less likely that you'll have a break-in or?
So they're actually, I posted some stuff about this around Christmas time. I had, the whole Harry and Marv reference from Home Alone. Even having the yard sign out there alone or visible evidence of cameras or a security system cuts your chance of being burgled burglarized. I like burglarized. It cuts it down.
A crime.
It cuts it down drastically, and that's, ideally if they just drive on right by, that's best case scenario.
Yeah.
But it cuts it down. I want to say it was 60 or 70% of burglars will drive on by if they see visible evidence of a security
You see
camera.
those signs.
Because that's more of a challenge.
Yeah, but you see sign video camera on present. You're like, there's no camera. That's a sticker they bought.
Well, that's the thing. That leaves a huge chunk that aren't driving by that might further research it. So you don't want to just put a sign out.
Right.
But it cuts it down drastically having a system.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you guys come in and do a thorough job of installing and then, of course, training people and all that. But to give you an example, when I ordered something online, the camera, which wasn't cheap, blew off because it's magnetically mounted. So, you think to yourself, well, okay, this is
wind?
great. Yeah, the wind actually did something, and it blew the thing down, and it cracked, and I had to order another one.
Not for nothing, too. If it was a magnetic mount, I'm guessing it was a Wi-Fi camera.
Yes,
as
it
well.
was, yes.
Which, there's more and more reports now of thieves and other criminals using Wi-Fi jammers to, disable those cameras.
Right.
So that's another, large concern as well. That's why, the majority of camera systems we're putting in, in fact, 99.9% of them, especially all the exterior ones are, wired cameras. So
I see. Yeah. See, they make it sound like it's so convenient. Hey, this is great. You can access it from anywhere. I would imagine even the wired ones you could still access, right?
Oh, yeah. We have, in most of the cameras we put in have some kind of mobile app access
Right.
you can get onto, or a web portal.
But it also eliminates the jamming part of it, right?
Yeah, because they're wired right to the network.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then as far as putting, magnets on your windows and stuff like that, I don't know how easy that would be when somebody figures things out. Because thieves that's all they have to do is think about how to do crime.
Yeah. So Tom,
They
for a
focus on
second,
it.
imagine me installing my own alarm system.
Oh, no, it's not going to happen. Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, I had a difficult time, and then after I was done, I'm like, I don't even know if this is safe. So I would rather have like an Eastern Security come over and do that.
Absolutely.
So are you taking calls right now? Can people get on your books? And
We are
get over
absolutely taking calls right now. You can reach us anytime at 315-422-4141.
422 4141. That is
Exactly.
correct. In the big area code 315, Tom?
Yes.
422. And you'll answer like, how much does it cost? What do we do? Because people don't know what to ask.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So you'll answer questions and you set it up, install it, monitor the whole drill, right?
Yep.
Okay. It is easternsecurity.net, not the other one.
Not the com.
Not the com. So easternsecurity.net, and they can reach out to you there too.
Absolutely.
Vinny Pioni right there. Thank you, sir, and you have a great rest of the day, okay?
Hey, thank you guys very much for having me back again.
All right. John DiRedida is coming up next. He's the Director of Events and Marketing at the Home Builders and Remodelers Association of CNY. Big title. I don't know that he's a huge guy, but that's a big title. Yeah. Right here on the local show on 570 WSYR.
The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
We're back into it and back at it. You've got the Local Show with Tom and Steve, seen on YouTube as well as heard on 570 WSYR and 106.9 FM. On YouTube, you can see the guests. You can see us, waving our arms about and what the set looks like. That's all important to people now,
Did you ever hear from your parents? Children should be seen and not heard.
Yes, I have heard that.
They should be seen and not heard thing.
Absolutely.
So when they get to be our children's age, Tom, should they be seen at all, or should they be somewhere else?
Well, no. Then you want to see them.
Visit them
to an extent.
Yeah, but do you really want them finishing off the stuff in the fridge you were going to eat?
No, not at all. Or asking for more money.
There we go.
For goodness sakes. It's our pleasure to bring on the show a new guest, John DiRedida, who is the Director of Events and Marketing at the Home Builders and Remodelers Association of CNY. John, how long have you been with the organization?
Well, I've been with them actually for well over 30 years.
Oh, okay.
New guy.
Are you there every year?
I'm there every year, but this is a new role for me with the,
I see,
the
yeah.
Home and
You look
Garden
like
Show.
Janice. She retired, right?
Janice retired, yeah, but she'll be there this weekend if you want to stop by and say hello.
What did you do for the organization beforehand?
I did a number of things for the last several years. I was the actual floor manager of the Home
okay.
and Garden Show, so this was a nice transition transition
remember
into.
bumping into you. I'm
yeah,
surprised.
well, I think I'm kind of like the behind the curtain kind of guy.
Yeah, you don't.
I'm not
have to be out there waving your like Steve, like a wacky waver.
Well, in your business, it would be I have a face for radio.
Yeah.
Right? But now the cameras are here. That's kind of gone by.
Yeah.
He was looking at you when he said that.
Well, that's great that you're involved like that. Anything different with this year's show than before?
Yeah, there's so much that is different this year. We have four. We have a landscape design challenge. We have four landscape companies that are the center showpiece, and they're competing for the public's vote for their design. So that's.
Are they playing nice together? Or
They really are. It's coming together nice, and it's very interesting to see. They're all looking over each other's shoulders to see what's going on. But it's going to be very nice. Hopefully, it'll generate a lot of votes for one of them, so that they can win a couple, some prizes. We have that. We have some interactive events taking place. Home Depot is going to. They have a obstacle course for an electric zero-turn lawnmower. They're going to be doing some leaf blower bowling.
Just say that a few times fast.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of early in the morning.
Golly.
So it's going to be a number of interactive events.
Sure.
We have some seminars for some hot topics that are pertinent in this time of year.
Yeah, good.
It's we have a little bit of everything. Have a little bit of something for everybody.
Your background, were you ever in the trades?
I was not. I'm a self-professed do-it-yourselfer. So I've always had an interest in the industry. My grandfather was very handy. My father was very handy. So I kind of picked up from them, and I've always had an interest in the industry.
Are you from Syracuse?
I am from Syracuse.
Yeah,
I grew up in Salve. Graduated from Salve High. Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, my father retired out of there as a music teacher. So.
You know what? I was wondering, Soccocio. Yeah, so I missed him.
Okay.
But he did a tremendous job with the program. I was under John Spillett.
John Spillett, and that was his student.
Yes.
Yeah, John.
I know John.
Yeah. So,
nice.
in fact, it's funny. I'm also in a band, and John Spillett stopped in at one of our gigs. And it's just so great to see him.
What's your band? What do you play?
I play trumpet and flugelhorn. And,
very nice.
What's the band?
The band is the Horn Dogs.
Okay.
Of course. Yeah. Because of the horns, right?
There we go.
Yeah,
so you like Chicago stuff? Are you playing?
Yeah, we play a little bit of everything across the board. Yeah. Chicago, Blues Brothers,
Chuck Mangione.
Yeah, well, we don't
they're not that good.
That's elevator music.
Yeah. Whoa. Well, when he said flugelhorn, there's not too many flugelhorn players.
But your father, great guy.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I knew your name sounded familiar in that vein.
So why do people go on a quest? So when they're going to the show, are they like, I need to find a roofer or whatever it is? They go in with something in mind, or are they just going to walk around and decide they're not content with what they have?
Yes, on both accounts, right? It is designed to make it a one-stop shop for all things home and garden, right? Mm-hmm. So the first part of that question is yes. If you're looking for a roofer, it's probably one of the best places to go, right? Because not only are you able to see the product that's going to go on your home, right? And see with the investment, but you're also getting the opportunity to meet face-to-face with many of the owners.
Which is important because let's face it, the industry in general, and we've talked about this with Mary before too, is that contractors don't have a good bedside manner in a lot of cases.
Absolutely, and it's very important to hire a pro, right?
Right.
And people that take the time to invest in making the investment and exhibiting in the show really says something about their company, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they want to make that connection, that they're not, that chuck in the truck.
Right, looking for the quick fix.
Looking for the quick, they're going to take the time, they're going to talk to, the guests visiting the show and giving them the information. So it really allows you to make the decision that's, the right one for you and the investment that you make in your home. And also to the second part of your comment, we do have people that just enjoy walking the show and looking for different ideas. I know myself, when my wife shows up, I'm doing projects or we're getting estimates on things that I never even thought of, right? So it's just it's a great a way to, come in and shop around, get ideas. And you may be even looking at a project that's 2 years down the road, and you start doing your research and talking and getting information. So it's just a great opportunity.
In the one building still?
Yes, we are in the Expo Center, which is just a tremendous building.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we have over 5,300 square feet of exhibit space.
So no need to go into any.
No,
it's really convenient. There's free parking. It's easily accessible.
So you make us give shout outs to some of the folks that we work with.
Yep.
So Prime Heating and Air's out there.
Oh, yeah. In fact, they're moving in today.
They've been moving in and doing their thing.
Yep.
Top Notch Roofing, I think they're about there. Sean.
Top Notch is out there.
Yep. And of course, Natasha Rubberstone, they go out every year.
Rubberstone just moves in today, too.
So the epoxy flooring, so they're all there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great people. Great people.
Excellent. Most importantly, what is there to eat for us Italian guys who are going?
So there is on-site catering.
Okay.
That, they're contracted with the state. So
okay, I see.
Yeah.
So they have the
Yeah, but they can't sell food there, right? Isn't there like a rule or something?
So the concession, they are already arranged through the state fairgrounds. They sign a contract.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they can't. It's
So
not
we
like a
can't
food
bring-
truck rodeo.
You can't do any of that.
You're limited. I was always impressed with the decks that those guys. When I would go in there and they would build a deck the week before and set it up, and you walk in there, I'm like, wow, look at the craftsmanship. And there's a lot of landscape people out there this year. You said there's 4 with a contest.
Yes, we have 4 with a contest, and it's center stage. So
okay, so who's voting?
So the public will vote. So they'll come in. We have QR codes around the building so they can vote with their smart devices, their
of
phones.
course, yes.
And if you're old school like my parents, we have a voting booth where you can go and we'll have.
Wait, you have a real voting booth?
We have a real
you pull
voting. Yeah, it's well, no.
They found it by the side of the road.
This is peanut style. It's a lemonade stand. So yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, so that if you don't have a smart device or you don't want to do it on your cell phone, you can just stop at our.
And the show's open all weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Come as you are. Hours of the show?
So Friday and Saturday it is 10 a.m. till 8 p.m. and then on Sunday it's 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Do most of the contractors in town belong to the association?
A good portion of them, probably over half of our exhibitors are members of the association.
Which gives them credibility and credence, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, when I was looking years ago, I was getting a roof put on, and I called some different places, and I was looking for. I didn't go with the cheapest. I went with the one that was the most credible. And no offense to the guy that pulled up on a motorcycle, but he lost credibility when he pulled up on his motorcycle to give me a quote.
Yeah.
And I wanted the truck, I wanted the stuff, and
Yeah, and that's another thing that's really nice about this show is getting the opportunity to meet the owners up front. It lets you gauge them and.
Good stuff.
Well, we'll see you at the home show.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll look for you walking the floor, okay?
Yeah, I'll be there.
John Dioretta right there, the Director of Events and Marketing at the Home Builders and Remodelers Association of CNY. Have a great rest of the day, okay?
You as well.
All right. Kick it off hour number 2 of the local show. We're going to have a conversation with Sarah Gaffney, Vice President of Enrollment Management at Onondaga Community College. Christina Farrar is the Mobile Maple Experience Coordinator for the New York State Maple Association. And then Fred Sears, Board of Directors, First VP at Moyers Corners Fire Department. Stick around. Hour number 2 of the local show starts really soon.
The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Welcome back and welcome in. This is hour number 2 of the local show. Get ready for engaging interviews with Sarah Gaffney. She's the Vice President of Enrollment Management at Onondaga Community College. Christina Farrar is the Mobile Maple Experience Coordinator for New York State Maple. And then Fred Sears is on the Board of Directors. He's the first VP at Moyers Corners Fire Department, and we'll have a nice conversation with him as well as we begin hour number 2. Right now we say hello to Sarah Gaffney, Vice President of Enrollment Management at Onondaga Community College. That's a big title. Do you have a plate?
I was thinking that. I go, wow.
I do not have a plate. I try to avoid sometimes.
Yeah, right. That kind of stuff. Hey, you know what I did? My son had to take pictures at one of the high school games, and he's a photographer, videographer guy. He fancies himself that at 17.
He's very good at it.
He's very good. Yeah, he's really trying hard. But, you guys host all that stuff at the SRC Arena. Yes. So I pulled up there, and there were no parking spots, and I'm like, where the heck is it? And I'm driving around. It was so packed. So I pull into this one spot. I literally did it, and then my eyes went up, and I was right in the president's spot, the one that says reserved for Dr. Hilton.
So if I was there, I would have taken a quick picture of that.
I should have done
and then
that.
Published it
Show everyone.
to show everyone.
It was pretty funny.
Shame of time.
It was the weekend.
It's great when it's packed.
Yeah.
You're not alone. That spot gets taken off.
Oh, good golly. So tell us, what is your role up there in Onondaga Community College?
So I have the privilege of working with a number of different areas on campus, actually all the areas on campus, because we say it's everyone's job. Enrollment is everyone's
Yes,
job.
I like that.
Yeah.
But primarily the recruitment, admissions, onboarding, financial aid, student accounts, kind of all the pieces that go into getting a student in the seat in the classroom.
Yeah.
Including athletics, which is some of the student life and fun that happens on campus. Right now, our women's basketball team is traveling for the national championships, so that's exciting for them and for us. And the Children's Learning Center, which is our child care center on campus, the privilege of working with them as well. So kind of a number of different various groups throughout campus, in addition to, like I said, all the other areas, because
and you're going to have a quick care Syracuse Community Health.
We are
out there. We heard about that. They were here a little earlier.
Fantastic. Yeah. We've been working with Syracuse Community Health Center for a while, a number of years prior to COVID, and had them on campus beforehand, and now are building a more permanent location for them, which is going to be great for our students and the community up there.
How many years have you been with OCC?
So I hit my 20-year mark in January, which seems unbelievable.
She started as a 6-year-old.
Yes, right.
Very young,
right.
Yeah. Are you from Syracuse originally?
I'm not.
No,
I'm actually from Messina, New York.
Oh, that's way up there.
3 hours.
On the Canadian border.
Goodness.
That's right.
150 miles.
So I moved south, just not far enough.
Yeah.
But
what, you moved to Ogdensburg?
No, here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. That's pretty cool. What's your background before you came to OCC? Where else did you work?
I worked for a BOCES program, so it was a school-to-work program.
Yeah.
Primarily located in Oneida County. And actually, it was that program that led me to OCC, to a similar program. It was a program I was involved in when I was younger, in high school and throughout my graduate studies. So it was school to work and college courses in high school.
Goodness.
So I've been in this world for a long time.
Yeah, you've been in the education.
I'm very passionate about what it can do for people and families.
So somebody is listening, maybe their family or their grandkids or something. Well, they should go to, no offense to SU or Lemoyne or who knows where. Put a pitch in for why should they do a couple years at OCC?
So those are great institutions.
Yeah. I know they are.
They're different. Yeah. We're all different. We are unique and have our own characteristics. OCC, the reason I've been there so long and I'm so passionate about it is, I feel like we are a place for most people if you choose us. We have direct-to-career programs. We have transfer programs. We are a less expensive option.
Sure.
So now debt is a big conversation.
Should have been a long time ago.
To higher ed. Exactly. I think that's what led it to off the cliff.
Yeah, right.
And, we are an affordable option for people to get started. So even if you are planning on going for a bachelor's degree or beyond, if you can do your first 2 years at that reduced rate, it makes a big difference in your overall.
Don't you get a chance to grow even beyond the academics? When I went there, I was 17 years old. I didn't know up from down, and got to make some permanent friends. Communications, radio, TV is what it was called back then. Yeah. And there's so many people that went through that program. I think of your son Nick, Tom, and wow, what an amazing program! I mean, it gives a chance to figure it out and learn some things, and then go into that third, fourth year with an edge up on everybody. I think.
Yeah, it's hard to ask individuals that age, what do you want to do with the rest of your life?
Correct.
Because I'm not sure I knew what I would be doing with the rest of my life. I also have a 2-year degree. I thought it was a great opportunity to see what it was like, what college is like, what the program is like, what I would like to do going forward. And we offer that. And students, it's very mobile, so students can make a different choice. And in my area in particular, we talk often about normalizing some of that. College is usually talked about as a linear path, right? You pick a school, you go to it, that's what you're going to do.
You complete it and you're
pick
done.
A program, you pick a school, you go. Most of us don't do that. Let's be honest about that. Right? Most of us make a different choice at some point, either with the school, with the program, with the major. And we need to talk more about that because I think that's a lot of pressure to put on young people.
So what's the difference between OCC and some of the other 2 years now? And we get a little more granular, right?
Sure.
Because you've got the Finger Lakes right down the road and Auburn and all that. So what's the difference?
Again, all great institutions in their own right.
This is when she wants to say we're better. Go ahead, say it. We're better.
Of course, I think we're better. I am a very competitive person at my core, but we also, our campus is far and away
it's like a four-year campus.
The most beautiful
really
campuses I've been on, and I've been on many. The investment that this community has made in our campus and our facilities outweighs most, like I said, that we've seen. So we actually resemble what you think you would get at a larger four-year institution. Some of the smaller four-year institutions don't have what we have for facilities.
Right, correct, yeah.
Our athletic facilities are beautiful. Our music facilities are beautiful. Our technology facilities are
you got those auditoriums that are really high tech.
Yep. Our restaurant that is student-led and run is amazing.
How about the Starbucks machines?
Yeah.
You can actually get Starbucks right out of the machine. I like that.
I know.
And it tasted good.
Going there.
So we believe, our students deserve these spaces.
Yeah.
They are beautiful, and that's how we've got one being constructed right now, the simulation lab that came from our partnership with Micron.
Oh, right.
And other companies in the area that need that type of workforce. And that's going to be a gorgeous space as well.
Tell me about your OCC open house thingy.
Yes, Saturday, April 6th, we will have an open house on campus. It starts at 9:30 in the morning, and we'll run programs. So we're actually going to model what it would be like to kind of be a student for a day and see the different areas that you'd have to interact with and different offices and people. How we're going to have a lot of faculty there, so individuals can talk to the faculty members in different areas and find out if that is in fact the direction they want to go, and ask them questions.
So they're not enrolling; they're going up there and kind of kicking the tires and saying, "Okay, this is this, and here if I wanted to do communications or auto, I can see it."
And I think that now my son, who's 17 and just wants to jump right into a four-year school because somewhere he thinks I hit the lottery. But I said,
"You didn't?"
and I didn't.
He works here. I know. I know what he makes.
This would be a great opportunity for him to really dive in and see what OCC is all about. Change his mind for a couple of years. I would love to see him go up there for a couple of years.
It could. It does change people's minds. They don't realize what we have on
until you
campus.
get up there. Will you have a buffet at all?
We do serve lunch.
Okay.
We do, in fact, serve lunch at an open house.
Very nice. I'm there.
So it's April 6th.
April 6th.
And people can go up and just, when they show up, they'll figure it out. They can probably go online.
Register.
Or they can show up.
Yep. We would love for you to register.
So there's enough food at the buffet. Yes.
No, so we know what area you're interested in. Because we are going to do tours of the whole campus. Like I said, have faculty there. We'll have our athletic programs there, our student clubs and orgs, everything for them to
SUNY, OCC.edu. Did I get that right? SUNY, OCC.edu. 498-2000. Call and ask questions if you want to, right?
Yes.
All right. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Sarah Gaffney, thank you so much for being here, and have a great rest of the day. Okay?
You as well. Thank you.
All right. Christina Farrar is up next. She's the Mobile Maple Experience Coordinator for New York State Maple. How sweet it is on the local show on 570 WSYR.
The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
We are back, and that means you are too. Thank you for spending quality time with Tom and Steve in this
We don't believe that.
spring.
You don't believe it's quality, Tom.
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, it's quality.
I do like the way listeners reach out. We had some folks reach out last week that were saying, "Hey, that guest was on. Can you give me their contact info? Can you give me their phone number?" Because we do have interesting guests. They don't ever ask for our information. It's the guests that they're looking for, and that's kind of fun because you mentioned this last week. We're a marketing firm that happens to do a radio show interviewing local businesses and organizations. So if you're stuck in the mud, or if maybe you don't have a brilliant marketing idea and you need one, call Tom.
Yes. I could help you,
yes,
folks.
Tom
That's
could help you. So when you hit Tom, send an email to me, Steve at Zoey Advertising. You can send it to Tom at Zoey Advertising or info or whatever.
It's just our first name and then ZoeyAdvertising.com.
So go ahead, Skippy.
Very good. Tom. Christina Ferrara is here with us, one of my people, Italian and... all happy.
Indeed.
Yes, Mobile Maple Experience Coordinator for New York State Maple. You've been doing it for a while now, right?
Yeah, about a year and a half. It'll be 2 years in June.
Very good.
So got a lot of road miles.
We remember when they didn't have you. Like, we need someone to do this. And
here I am.
What did you do before that? Did you?
I was the forestry educator at Cornell Cooperative Extension in Onondaga County. Yes. So my background is in forest resources management, and I have had a special interest in maple throughout my career in forestry. So
you're actually educated. You're not just you just don't have an affection for trailers.
Exactly. Yes, my affection is for maple.
Understood.
Not necessarily trailers.
So tell us about this trailer, though. What do people see in this trailer, and optically and all that?
Yeah, so our trailer is basically a mobile classroom, and we have several exhibits to bring students basically into the woods and through the whole process of making maple syrup, from tapping trees and collecting sap, all the way through to bottling syrup. Yeah. So we've got some cool exhibits. We've got a vacuum pump that runs and circulates water through two of our example trees.
Yeah, so you actually see it, how it works.
You actually see how it works. Yeah. We have a small reverse osmosis machine showing how water and sugar are separated through the reverse osmosis process. Yeah. And a very small evaporator, all fitted into the back of a 24-foot trailer that we bring to schools.
It was lovely. The design of it is stunning. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And so we talk with students of all ages, K through 12, and we are able to adjust our lessons according to the science and math needs of that age group.
How long have trees been tapped for sap?
That's a great question.
Approximately.
Hundreds of years, we think, because Native Americans, our indigenous folks, have been tapping trees long before there were colonists here, and they shared that information about sweet sap in the springtime.
Did you ever see
how they did
with colonists?
How could they figure that out?
Right. As a kid, did you ever think, hey, you see sap coming out of a tree, like, hey, that's supposed to be sweet. You go, oh, that was awful. And because there were trees where we grew up, lots of trees, but I never knew the process. So how many gallons of sap is a gallon of maple syrup? What's the ratio?
So about 43 gallons of sap to 1 gallon of maple syrup.
Oh, my goodness.
And that's if your maple tree is at 2% sugar content.
Okay, so I actually just did the math. Tom didn't in his head. I did the math. That's how that works.
Yes.
So can people make their own maple syrup, or do they got to go buy it?
Yeah, of course. That's one of the reasons why I got interested in maple syrup, is wherever you are on the continuum of equipment and interest, you can collect sap from 2 or 3 yard trees, 1 yard tree. You can work with your neighbors and boil that sap
40
down.
40 gallons, though, out of a tree just to get 1 gallon of Maple syrup.
Yes.
There's no shortcut, huh?
You can add reverse osmosis, which will remove some of the water from sap before you get to the boiling process. And that can cut your boiling time down in half.
Yeah.
So
you have to have a boiler. But do you, can you recommend where to get all of this equipment? Is it all on Amazon now? I would imagine.
There's lots of places to buy maple equipment. And yes, Amazon and Tractor Supply and those places have it. But I would recommend visiting nysmaple.com to find out where your local maple supplier is.
So tell me about Maple Weekends. What's that all about?
Maple Weekend, it's that time again.
Yeah.
So we, our maple producers open their doors to the public for 2 weekends a year in March. So this weekend, the 16th and 17th, and next weekend, the 23rd and 24th, are our official New York State Maple Weekends. Our maple producers are all posted on mapleweekend.com, which you can search for the producers near your home, and they're open from 10 to 4 and have all kinds of wonderful activities for the families.
Different ones have different things. And I've been to dozens of these over the years. Some of them will have food, right?
Pancake breakfast or different foods.
You know, some of them have like animals, and some of them have, you know, some of them are just a little more mom and pop. And there's a shout out back, like, wow, but they can see it being made.
Yes. The
samples are great because if you stop at enough of these farms. So at mapleweekend.com, whole list of these. They can click on it and find the map and get directions and things like that.
Yeah, we have a brand new website, mapleweekend.com, with an interactive map. So about 158 maple producers are signed up for Maple Weekend this year, and that's all across the state of New York. And you may do a search for the producers in your area. You can even search specifically for pancake breakfasts if that's something you're interested in. And you'll get all the information about the producers with open houses and what is the feature of their open house.
What do you know about the nutritional value of maple syrup? Is that out of your purview, or do you know a little bit about that?
I know a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, you know, people call it a natural, you know, sugar type thing. Is it bad for you if you've already got, you know, high sugar content in your diet?
Well, it is the sugar. That's the bottom line. So moderation is key. It does have minerals in it.
Oh, good. Okay.
Some minerals in it that highly processed sugars don't have.
Yeah, right.
And you know, high fructose corn syrup
no good
is kind of the enemy that we learn about. Maple is a pure product. It's got no serious processing or additives or anything other. We just boil the water away. So in that respect, it's a better choice.
So, and people sample that, and folks that go to the fair every year in the horticulture building experience maple with all the tastes and flavors, and the maple ice cream that is so good, and the maple popcorn that's delicious, and the maple cotton candy that's wonderful, and the little shapes, which I think they used to call them molds. I don't like that word. It's like something.
We try not to use that.
They're little. What they are, they're made in a mold, and they look like leaves and things. So they're cute, but
maple shapes.
But sugar shots is what we call them for the kids because it is sugar.
It is.
This mobile experience that you have out there, can people book that for like a corporation or a school or anything like that? How do they get...
So education is the priority. So schools or educational events come first. We do accept requests, but everything is reviewed by a committee that sort of decides on those non-school requests.
And it's purely educational. You don't come with the cotton candy or the nuts or anything like that?
No, it's purely educational. We do have a sample of maple syrup for everybody that comes through at the end, so you get to taste that product.
And it's the real deal. It's not corn syrup painted brown. This is the real deal.
Absolutely not. It's the real deal.
So get out to Maple Weekends.
Yes,
the next few weekends. It's mapleweekend.com. Find a place, go, bring the family, fill the car, and go see it and taste it.
Very good. Well, Christina, thank you so much for participating and being here today, okay?
Thank you, Tom and Steve. It's my pleasure.
Have a great rest of the day.
You too.
Coming up next, we're going to talk with Fred Sears. He's the Board of Directors' first VP at Moyers Corners Fire Department. We'll learn all about that organization and what they got going on here on the local show on 570 WSYR. Stick around.
The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Welcome back, folks. You've got The Local Show with Tom and Steve. Remember Mr. Cotter? Welcome back.
I love that show.
Mr.
Who was your
Cotter.
favorite character?
Well, you know, Horshack and Vinnie Barbarino.
I was going video. Right.
Can you believe that? That was John Travolta when he was actually funny.
Yes.
Didn't take himself seriously.
No, it's true. And Mr. Cotter was so cool.
He was. The reason why I remembered that was, I don't know, I was scrolling through something and it was showing 80s stars and 70s stars, how they look now. And he looked like a train wreck.
Oh, really?
You know, I feel bad that I'm 60 years old and I'm thinking, oh, I don't look like I did. But he was a mess.
You always feel better when other people look worse. Tom.
Absolutely.
I've noticed that about you. So other people have pain and suffering. You're like, you know what? Not as bad as them.
Like Rodney Dangerfield said, you know, you want to look thin, hang around fat people. So, you know, that's what it's all about. Hey, you know, I got to tell you a little bit about Stan and Donna Shane, who own Syracuse Dog Fence, because it has been a real blessing to have our dogs on their invisible fence type product. And it has been wonderful because I can let those dogs run. I was so concerned that they were going to, you know, bust over the barrier, and they do not. They go right up to the edge. In fact, last night it was pretty funny. You know, it was good, decent weather, and Layla, the real younger dog compared to Mikey, made a beeline for a squirrel. And I said, go get the squirrel, go get it. And she went right up to the squirrel and put the brakes on and went,
like a cartoon.
Yeah, like a cartoon. And she will not go over that barrier. And she'll sit and bark and have a blast. And I think I told you we had 4 deer back there not too long ago. And Layla sat at the edge, barked her little head off, but would not go over that barrier.
So the fence, you can't see it.
You can't see it.
And does the fence clean up the dog poop?
Yeah, no, it doesn't do that. However, the collars are rechargeable, so it's a very easy process. You throw the collar on the charge, and they last a long time. I'll go 2 weeks, and I don't have to charge the thing.
We went on the look way, nearly 15 years ago, and we looked at the national companies and everything, and we ended up with Stan and Donna, and we talked to them, and they were all about the training. You could tell they love dogs.
Yes.
It didn't feel like it was this big machine showing up trying to sell you stuff, and got to become friends, and they've been taking care of us ever since.
I cannot endorse it enough. I think everyone should have that and not have to, you know, if you want a fence for the look of a fence,
different thing.
Great, the different thing. But if you got dogs, you know, put them on this Syracuse Dog Fence. And his number, I know there's a bunch of 5s in it.
So SyracuseDogFence.com. You can get they'll quote it right over the phone.
Yeah.
They're as genuine as anything. 415. And then a whole bunch of fives. 4155. That's not even their corporate number, or their business number. That's Stan's cell.
Stan's cell phone.
Call Stan and say, hey, what would it cost, or how do we do this? And people that say it won't work on my dog, they're wrong.
Yeah, they are wrong. Yeah, good job. Okay, well, we have a new guest to the show right now. It's Fred Sears. He's Board of Directors' first VP at Moyers Corners Fire Department. That's a big title,
Big
Fred.
shot. Wow.
I didn't know what to say.
Right. Well, there you are. Fred, it's good to have you on here.
Thanks much.
Are you a Syracuse native? You born and raised around here?
No, I came up into Liverpool in 1986.
Okay.
From where?
Down near Binghamton, New York. Little
Like
town.
a Vestal guy, or?
No, other side, little town called Berkshire.
Okay.
Newark Valley, Owego area.
I hadn't heard of that one.
You got out.
That's
I
good.
did.
Okay. Now, did you work a corporate job, or you were in what kind of business were you in?
I left when I graduated from high school. Went to school at Morrisville for 2 years. Went on to Rochester at RIT for 2 years, and then we moved to Plattsburgh for a job. Then have been in New York State most of my life. We landed here in Liverpool, like I said, back in 1986.
What's your professional expertise?
Right now, I'm at National Grid as a project manager.
Okay. Yeah.
Prior to that, I was in the hospitality industry, and while that's a good industry, it's not really conducive to family life if you want to not work 80, 90 hours a week.
So you had an ice cream truck?
I would have loved to have an ice cream truck. No, I worked in restaurants and hotels and all that
kind of stuff, right? Yeah. Well, now, how did you get into, what is your role at Moyers Corners? Because that's a big fire department.
Yeah, right now, I'm on my second year as vice president. Prior to that, I was 5.5 years as president. Prior to that, I was 5 years in the Treasury Department as volunteering our time on the board. I went into the department back in 1988.
Okay, yeah.
When we had a medical rescue squad, became an EMT, did that for 4 years.
Gotcha.
I left for a while because my kids got to the point that they wanted dad around a little more to do
there
things.
You go. Yeah,
Yeah.
And I had always made the commitment to go back when they grew up. And the point was shortly after 9/11, when a lot of us wanted to do things.
To help,
was when I went back in the fire department in 2003.
Moyers Corners encompasses how much of a swath of land?
About 30 square miles. When you
Okay.
look at it, we have most of the town of Clay and most of the population of the town of Clay.
Yeah.
How did that? Who draws the lines, and how does that happen?
It's an interesting question. I had shared with Steve when you guys were in the department last week one of our historical books. I won't do it justice in terms how Chief Brand started the department, but basically it was Liverpool Fire Department could not come over a certain area.
Right.
It was about the John Glenn Boulevard area. They had to stop, and there was a barn fire, and Chief Brand said enough of this, and he created his own fire department back in 1948.
Oh my gosh! So saw the opportunity, but the need, because going north there wasn't a whole lot. What I think where Moyers Corners is now, in the 40s, that was farmland. And farmland.
Farmland and a little bit of wet swampland.
And where does Belgium Cold Springs come in then?
We go over to the bridge, River Road,
heading
out towards Baldwinsville. That's where Belgium Cold Springs takes over on the other side of the river. We go up to the bridge that heads towards Phoenix.
Yeah.
And we go over to about Morgan Road, a little bit east of Morgan Road, and then down through the northern portion.
So kind of where the Euclid Hotel is, that area?
Right there is where we end. Clay Fire Department picks up
Clay
there.
is right there, yeah.
Back to the question on how did it get divided. It's not necessarily throwing a dart at the wall, but years and years and years ago, the town of Clay became the fire district, working with the 5 fire departments that are in the town of Clay, and they sort of drew the maps geographical to make it, more consistent.
So how many people are in the fire department in Moyers Corners?
Right now we have 110 active people. In that group of people, we've got 10 females. We have fire police. What we call active interior firemen are probably the large proportion of the 110 members. We don't count our college students. Right now we have 3 bunk-ins that are in the department that live in our station as part of our program. So we're in pretty good shape comparatively to our other colleagues in the volunteer fire service right now.
What is it like with the colleagues? What are they struggling with?
Volunteers.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why do you think that is?
Well, times have changed. If you go back to what I said about Chief Brand starting Moyers Corners in 1948, there wasn't a lot of other activities that were going on in the world.
And World War II had just ended. So you've got right?
You got people that had provided a service to the country in the military that came in because they had that discipline, that structure, and that desire to help their community. And so Chief Brand, and it started out with a handful of guys, 6 or 7. The charter members, I think, totaled 14. Don't quote me on that number, but that was the group of guys that started the fire department. And they started it with their own funding. A couple of guys had some businesses, and they would take money out of one side of their pants and put it in the fire department, other side of their pants, and that's how it got started.
Right. So arguably, you could say that most of the firefighting that's done is done by volunteers rather than the professional force.
Yeah,
right?
predominantly still in this state, in the country, most of the numbers are volunteers.
Yeah.
There are some departments in Onondaga County that have paid staff, and it seems to be a direction that some of the departments are having a need to go in.
Right. All right. Hey, can we keep you around? Because we're just starting to unpack this thing. Okay?
Sure. If you guys want me to, I'll be here.
Absolutely. I'd like you more than Steve, so, already.
Bar's not high. Sounds good.
All right. We're talking with Fred Sears. He's Board of Directors, first VP at Moyers Corners Fire Department, and we're going to continue that conversation next on The Local Show, so stick around.
The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Back at it again with your favorite duo on the weekends. It's Tom and Steve. And this is The Local Show. For those of you keeping up with things, we're going to be talking with Fred Sears. He's the board of directors, first VP at Moyers Corners Fire Department, and we'll learn a little bit more about that organization as soon as Steve tells us about this heating and cooling business.
Prime Heating and Air, they were out at Mom's this week. She had, in half the house, there's a furnace, a regular old forced air furnace.
Sure.
In the house, the second house that's attached that Dad built, it's a what do you call it? The water thing. The help me.
Hot water tank?
Yes, but it's a boiler. Thank you. You guys,
okay,
I hate both of you for leaving me suffering.
We didn't know where you were going.
It's a boiler. Well, Mom calls. Oh, there's some water there. We got it. I said, well, tell you what. They called the boys over at Prime, and Dwayne went over there. And looked at it, and he's like, I'm not sure. I love the confidence of someone that can say they're not sure, as opposed to, we got to replace everything.
Right.
So they looked, and they didn't see anything immediately. They said, the boiler's, older than dirt. Maybe some point you want to replace it, but that's a different conversation. Okay. And they gave her peace of mind, checked the other furnace out, changed the filter, which you never do, Tom, on the forced air one. I always
change my filters.
And did it. But if you're looking for someone you can trust, you're looking for some family business, local.
Right.
Dwayne Neal, who's on the show all the time, Prime Heat and Air. Phone number 802-4287, 802-4287, primeheatandair.com. Give him a call.
All right. Thank you for that. Fred Sears over there at Moyers Corners Fire Department. We were just talking about volunteers and how things, it's a different time. Question I had was, do all firefighters have to be EMTs?
No.
Okay.
No, but there's a requirement that they have to go through what's called, like the old word, Firefighter 1 training. There's a new word for it. So that's a requirement to be able to go inside facilities, buildings, et cetera, to do what you do as an interior firefighter.
So there's a lot of training.
A lot of training.
Yeah, I would imagine, because if I had a fire at my house, I would want somebody to have that medical training as well. So if they pull me out and I can't breathe.
They pull up, they look at Tom, and they go, you must have been inside. He's like, no, this is how I look every day.
Yeah, we push our guys, too, on that point to be certified first responders, not necessarily go through the class to learn EMT stuff, because that's cumbersome, too, with the amount of time, class work, and working in the hospitals to.
So there's a difference between an EMT and a first responder?
Yeah, because we learned basic CPR, life protection type things, but you're not going through the technical classes to get an EMT certification. So most of our guys know CPR, so you don't have to worry about when we show up that nobody knows what they're doing.
Gotcha.
So how is all this paid for?
Well, great question.
Chicken barbecues.
Well,
used to be Fireman's Field Days, right?
Yeah. If I can go back in history, which was one of the earlier questions, that's how we did it.
Yeah.
The Fireman's Field Days, Moyers Corners actually had a good reputation for one of the better
big ones.
I remember
one of the fire days, and we got away from that for a number of reasons. One, as you can imagine, liability increased, and number two, volunteers dropped off. When you do those types of events, like anything, the old 80-20 rule comes to play. And now it's 90-10 or even 95-5 where you do those things. So we made a conscious decision to get away with it, or away from it. We did stay with our guy, Chicken George, we called him. He was the guy that was the
pit
chef
master
sort of behind with our chicken barbecues. So we kept going with chicken barbecues as a fundraiser. Then some of the leadership at the time felt that, we needed to go to the town of Clay and talk about a fire protection contract that had reimbursement to it, because we weren't going to be able to sustain ourselves with chicken barbecues and the like. So the town of Clay then funds us on an annual basis with a contract to provide fire protection service. And as Steve mentioned, we are a 100% volunteer organization. So we count on volunteers to come and help us out.
So do people go, oh, you're a fireman, you make a lot of money, and you roll your eyes?
Yeah, another good question. We do a lot of public stuff. Christmas time, we go out with a Santa detail. We put Santa on the back of a sled. We go around the communities. We hand out things to the kids. And folks still think we're paid. And we have that conversation with them. Then we go around that we're volunteers. If you have time, if you're a youngster, you want to volunteer.
Yeah.
I think the perception in our town, because we've gotten away from the fire field days and other events like that would bring the community to our stations, we've lost that connection that they understand we're volunteers. My point being that when you look at your tax bills, and there's a line item on there for many things. One of them says fire insurance, fire protection for the town of Clay. So people pay their taxes, and they therefore think that
It's going
our
to you
folks
guys,
are paid.
Oh, okay. And they're not.
And they're not.
So they're completely volunteer. There's not even a little stipend or anything?
Well, that's another good question. Yes, years ago, a program came out of the state of New York to help volunteers. It's called LOSAP, Length of Service Program. So yes, the amount of time we put in, we will get a stipend when we hit 62 in terms of a retirement benefit based upon our time in.
I got you.
But nobody's doing it for the money, let's be honest.
Yeah, no, that the young kids can't see 30, 40 years down the road. So when you explain that program to them, it's like, glaze over, because they don't see the future.
Right. So why would someone volunteer today?
I think respect for their community, trying to contribute to the community, and realizing that this is, while can be dangerous, is a lot of fun and you're with your colleagues. You mentioned earlier about the older gentleman coming out of World War II. We try to promote to our military forces too, because that's basically the same type of concept. They're coming out of the service, they've got a sense of community, a sense of service, and we're trying to promote our opportunity to those types of people as well.
So somebody who would be like in the Air National Guard would also be a good candidate to be a volunteer fireman.
Yeah, I was thinking of my youngest son, Nate, who's serving over there now and will be back hopefully this summer unless they, get him back in again, which could happen. But the camaraderie, you mentioned, that's what he loves about it. He's got friends, they've camaraderie. There's a bit of fear that's fun. I don't know. Is that possible? There's like an edge of, hey, you know what?
Adventure.
We're going to make a difference. Adventure. But it is. But it's. Why do people go on the scariest ride at the amusement park? Because that's really fun. A little dangerous. But you know what? I'm going to do it. And there's especially young people that don't have as many brain cells yet, like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what got me into it too, frankly, back in 1988. My family had a little bit of a medical background to it.
Okay.
And I didn't consider myself that smart, so I thought, hey, learning how to be an EMT would get me into the family game, so to speak.
Yeah,
so that's what got me into it. Plus, my neighbor, we talked last week when Steve were in and talked about what makes you want to join. And do you tap into your community and do you tap into your neighbors? Well, that's how I joined. My neighbor came over, knocked on my door, said, hey, Fred, I'm going to go to the fire department and join and come with me. And I didn't have any real desire to do that until that, but my father had a history in the fire service, and at the time I had the time, and I thought, well, let's go see what it's like.
So could it be that maybe people do want to volunteer, but you're just not reaching all of the people that could be potential volunteers?
Exactly. And I think if I can talk about why Steve and I started talking was because we've not been able to connect with our community like we have in the past. Social media has changed a lot of that interaction, so we have to take a different approach to how do we get out into the community and how do we attack, for the sake of a better word, getting new members to recognize here's an opportunity for you to volunteer.
And you got Recruit New York thingy? Tell me about that.
April 13th, it's a statewide program. They pick the weekend in April that is convenient for most fire departments. What we will do is an open house. We'll try to do food trucks, all that type of stuff, and promotion around that time to get people to show up. And
where do they show up? Because you got 4 locations. Is one of them, all of them? How's it work?
Yeah, we've decided to get out of our stations. We're going back to the Great Northern Mall.
There we go.
This year.
Yeah, that's nice.
And do a big, large event up there so people have the ability to come in and stop and talk to us.
Why don't you let fire do it? Put it out. That'd get some crowds. I'm just saying, it's a little, it needs some work.
Do me a favor, though. Don't give up the chicken. There's nothing like a good chicken.
There we go, right?
Rotisserie style. Yeah, Fred, thank you so much for being here, and we'll have you on again, okay, man?
I appreciate it. It's been great.
MCFD.org.
MCFD.org, and you can look at applications and contact information to join join the department, please reach out.
You got it. All right, Steve, that's going to wrap up the show. So maybe you want to stretch out and get ready to volunteer.
Yeah, I'll stretch out. And I'll volunteer. You know what?
Maybe we don't want you to volunteer.
I like the idea.
You could volunteer.
Imagine me.
They need somebody to clean the bathrooms.
Yeah, well,
you could be. That would be perfect for you.
That would be a real servant, then, wouldn't it?
On behalf of the local show, Zoey Advertising, and Tom and Steve, God bless you and your families. Take some time to relax and exercise today and every day. Do it with a friend or family member. It'll keep your body and mind healthy. The local show is heard every Saturday morning from 11 to 1, and then again on Sunday morning from 7 to 9. Listen together with a friend. Until next week, get down to business and keep doing business locally. Tell your friends about the local show right here on 570 WSYR 106.9 FM, the iHeartRadio app, and on YouTube at Zoey Advertising.